Hello everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video and happy Sunday to all of you. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. So today we are playing another Murloc deck on the Wild Mode ladder, and it is courtesy of our good friend Beardyman, who is a Murloc innovator, a Murloc specialist. And in this deck there are some key cards to talk about. Tip the Scales and Anyfin can happen, costing 8 and 10 respectively. Tip the Scales, of course, will flood the board full of Murlocs from your deck. Anything can happen will bring some Murlocs back to life, but you can use Prismatic Lens in this deck to cheapen the cost of Tip the Scales, to cheapen the cost of Anything can happen, and suddenly those two big spells can become early game cards. And an early Tip the Scales can just win the game for you. Now, speaking of early game, the latest expansion has given us a couple of key new cards. A Lushwater Mercenary, 2 cost 3/2. Battlecry, if you control a Murloc, gain +1/+1. So that is a 2 cost 4/3 in essence. That's really good to have down early. And if you can combo that with a Lushwater Scout, Lushwater Scout has to be the MVP card of this deck for me. Because what it says is, after you summon a Murloc, give it +1 attack and rush. Now, consider combining Lushwater Scout with Tip the Scales. Or if Tip the Scales brings out a Lushwater Scout in the early wave of minions, all of the Murlocs that come after it within the spell will gain the +1 attack and rush. And that is just insane value. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to go on a little bit of a journey with us as we traverse the Wild Mode ladder, playing this beautiful, beautiful Murloc Paladin? So, our first game is going to be against a mage.
Let the games begin. I will fight with honor.
Alright, mage. Probably a secrets mage. So the way we win is early game pressure. We out-pressure them with Murlocs. And we've just drawn Mermy. I think that's really significant. However, we could coin out a 2-drop here. Okay. But maybe I want to save the coin. Right? Because what I can do is I can Mermy, and next turn I could either Lushwater Scout or Lushwater Mercenary. Okay, the ping is good. It's a slow turn for them. The Mercenary is still active. Thinking back to that turn 1 play, what if I had coined out the Scout and then on turn 2 played the Mercenary? Would that have been better? Beardyman, if you're watching this video, would that have been a better play? But right now, we have the War Leader for this tremendous additional damage, and Loatheb coined out on 4 could just seal the game for us, right? Another ping is another slow turn. I'm okay with this. Okay. Turn 4, coin Loatheb. Absolutely insane. I see you, and this mage is not going to be able to do very much, I think, with this 5 mana now. I think this is just game over. What can they play here that has any kind of impact on the board with their spells and now being more expensive?
Well played.
Well played indeed, sir. And that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Well, surprise, surprise, it's another mage. I seem to be facing a lot of mages these days. So we have the coin, so I'm keeping the double 2-drop. Murga is likely to survive past turn 1 after I coin it out. And that will then pave the way for the Mercenary. But this, I think, could be better. The Scout. Nice top deck. because next turn we have our choice then between Murga and the Lushwater Mercenary. I think this is just a little bit better. It gets this nice attack buff, 5 attack. Is going to warrant attention. No attention paid to it though. To play around Flame Ward, we do this. It's not Flame Ward. Okay. But yes, giving the health buff does play around the 3 damage AoE from Flame Ward. Wow, okay. So they are playing a similar deck to the last mage. Would it have been better to Megasaur on that previous turn? Because I've also now floated 1 mana, which is maybe not ideal. Was Megasaur cleaner? I mean, the idea here is to build a wide board. But
The future is
I don't know. I mean, Megasaur would not have found us lethal, right?
Behold the tools
So maybe this play going wide was correct? But we have Loatheb on turn 5.
of creation.
It's not as good as Loatheb on 4. But it'll do. So if we add up the damage, it's enough to pop the block, right? Just order this correctly. Okay, ice block, sure.
My magic will tear you apart.
And they are really not happy with the situation. Without the Loatheb, there's a lot of spells they could probably play. In fact, without the Loatheb on board, there's, I guess, every chance that we could be dead to Mizaki and just cheap spells. I've died to this kind of mage on turn 5 before, and it's no fun. But it's just crazy how much value they can generate with so little mana. But I assume Loatheb has just completely blocked them out now, and there's nothing they can do.
What to do? What to do?
There's no way, I assume, of mass freezing the board. And
Well met.
if they can't mass freeze the board, well, they're just going to be dead the following turn. So either this mage is doing a lot of calculating, or they've just rage quit. And I will absolutely take a rage quit from this kind of mage. And it's a rage quit. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And look, we do get Megasaur value. And Murga gets the honour of ending the game. Okay, next game.
Uther versus Sylvanas.
It's against our hunters, so this will be a little bit different.
With honor.
We were able to soundly thrash both mages. Against a hunter, though, what can we expect? What do hunters do in wild mode these days? What decks get played? Hunter is barely represented, right? So it could just be a Reno deck. I have seen some Reno hunters from time to time. It would be nice if it was a Reno hunter. Perhaps would be a bit more competitive, especially if they've got lots of spells in their deck that can clear my board. It'd be interesting. But this is a strong start. Beardyman, if you're watching this, was that the correct play on that turn to coin out both of those? Okay, that's reasonable. That's slowed me down just a little bit. The Tidecaller's snowball effect can be a lot of fun. It does feel a little bit unfair though, but it can be a lot of fun. Master's Call! Okay, and look, they're drawing all the beasts. So this is a beast hunter. Interesting. But the pressure continues. Murkai will be next. And if they clear the board, we have tipped the scales. We're in a really good position here. And looking at this board, all three of these Murlocs need to be killed, right? All three of them are dangerous. All three need targeting, because in their own right, they are such great cards, right? Attack buff, rush attack buff. Oh, here come all the beasts. Well, I don't think the beasts are gonna be enough here. We just go face. We don't even need to count. Oh, it's 1 over lethal. Fancy that. Alright. Diamond 3, not bad. Alright, next game, Priest time.
I will fight with honor.
And we do start out with the double Tidecaller play, potentially. Or a Tidecaller into a Rockpool Hunter is not bad either. However, with Priest, I'm thinking Reno Priest or Big Priest. If it's Big Priest, we could just snowball them. This is something I've done before with Murloc decks. I've just snowballed in the first 3 or 4 turns, and with Big Priest, they're waiting on a Shadow Essence play often. And if they can't get that, they can just die to board pressure. Or even Shadow Essence on 6 or coined on 5 is still too late. Floating 1 mana feels a bit weird, and oh, that's unfortunate. So, on this basis, our start has just been negated completely. I could have equipped the weapon and hit face, but I thought I need to get something on the board. Because I need board presence, and then I need to buff the Murlocs and start throwing them face. This is very awkward in terms of my mana usage here, in that I've only been able to play 1 Murloc. Would it have been better to have played the War Leader and pushed more damage face? But the Scout is a good future investment. But the Scout is now dead. Our opponent got so lucky. And as the game progressed, the resurrection effect started. And at that point, we'd got them down relatively low. But it is just not enough. You can't beat this. You just cannot beat this. If we were a Murloc Shaman, then we may have the Flurgle Toxfin combo that could save us in a situation like this, and that has pushed damage and win the game. But we're a Paladin, so there is no Flurgle. And even if we were a Shaman, you'd have to draw it, right? With the Toxfin. You'd have to have both ready. And tip the scales here usually would be very good, but I mean, these Murlocs, they can't get through. And whilst we're not dead on board, as far as I can count, we're never getting through these big taunts. Scrapyard Colossus from hand for 10 mana is just insane for them. Because it's another taunt we can't get through. Even though it's cost them 10 mana. And they haven't cheated it out. It's still too good. Alright. So, Big Priest, that had lots of early removal, I guess is just favoured, right? Big Priest, without the early removal, without the resurrection effects, we're favoured if we can kill them in those first few turns. I guess that's what it comes down to. So, ladies and gentlemen, Beardyman's Murloc Paladin. Beautiful deck. As you saw at the start of the video, Loatheb was an MVP, an absolute MVP, and it's an MVP against Mage, and there are lots of mages on the ladder right now, and it's an MVP against Priest. Okay, Big Priest in particular, because maybe it can block out a Shadow Essence turn, and maybe that's all you need to push pressure to the face and win the game. So, thank you to Beardyman for this glorious deck. Thank you to all of you for watching. And I'll see you guys all again very soon, as always, for more Hearthstone fun. Please, as always, stay safe, look after yourselves, and be good to one another.